Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 on all-wheel drive drifting tips. Now we're gonna talk about your springs, your dampening, and your differential a little bit on this. So I'll just put all this back up because I was just playing around with something. So yeah, just put that back up. Basically, on your springs, it's like if you're on a track, you're hitting a lot of speed bumps on, you can soften your springs up. And when you soften your springs, it means when you hit the speed bumps, your car is less likely to spin. So if you've got your springs, for instance, if you've got your top and your bottom down there, like this, when you hit a speed bump, your car is less likely to spin out because it soaks it all up. But the downside to doing this is your car gets very grippy. But there is ways you can counter-react to grippiness on it, which I talked about in the last video. And if your car's not sliding, or if you're one of them what never hits a rumble pads, run it higher, then your car's more slippier. But the downside is when you hit a rumble pad, it will spin you because your car can't soak up the bumps, if that's any sense. So it's your springs is one of them what you don't really play around with unless it's like if you. What I recommend with your springs and your dampening and all stuff like that is once you've reached your max, once you've played around with your camber, your alignment setups, and you got this to how you like it, how we talked about on last video, if you've got all this and your anti-rolls to how you like to drift without touching your springs and your dampening and all that, then just drift like that. Then once you've reached your maximum amount of points you can get with your setup like this, then I recommend you start playing around with your springs, because it's one of them. It's like you can't. It really does help you if you get your springs right, but if you get it wrong, it makes your setup a lot worse, and it makes it feel like it's something completely something else when it's not. So your springs and your dampening, at first I wouldn't really play with them. But if you're getting comfortable with your tuning, you got comfortable with your alignment, your car's feeling steady, and you want to make it a little bit better, just play around with your springs and your dampening. And your dampening works the same. It's like if you run it softer, you will run your springs softer, then when you hit the speed bumps you won't spin, but it'll be a lot grippier. The same with your dampening, run it softer, you won't spin when you speed bumps, but it'll be grippy. But run it harder, run it stiffer, your cars will spin out like a morpho when you hit the speed bumps, but it'll be a lot slippier, so you can take corners nicer, if you know what I mean. And the other thing as well, when you start playing around with these, you really do want to play around with your anti-roll bars as well. It's like if you make these stiffer, try and do the same with your anti-roll bars. Make them a little bit stiffer. If you make your springs softer, make your anti-roll bars a little bit softer. And as well, if you make your springs softer, same with your dampening, make them softer as well. Like, do it so it all ties into each other and it all feels good. So like for instance, if I up this to 800, up this to 800, then because I've made these harder, I want to up these a little bit. You don't need to up these a lot, just like 0.4, 0.5, something like that. Same on these, 0.4, 0.5. And on your anti-rolls, because this car's pretty stiff as it is, so you don't really need to play around with this. But in theory, you do want to make these a little bit harder as well. And I don't know what it's going to do to the setup, but I'll find out. And as you'll see, it's wanting to slide a lot more. But when you hit the rumble part, it's sliding a hell of a lot more and it's just slipping all the way off the track. That's because it's stiffer and it's more slippier. But when you hit the rumble pads, for instance, it will more likely to spin you out because you've got it a lot stiffer. So you've got to try and keep away from your rumble pads, and it will be a lot better, a lot stiffer. Now I'll spin round and I'll soften everything up, and I'll show you what I mean when it's soft and you go out rumble pads. I'll spin it round. Now if I run all these softer, I'm just dropping it down to 700, I know it's now this isn't good for this car, if you know what I mean. I'm just showing you what it does and what it feels like, if that makes any sense. So I don't think, oh, I've put it on this, so I've got to put it on that. No, don't, because it'll probably make this car feel awful, which you'll find out now. But what you'll see is when I hit the rumble pads, it doesn't want to spin. It really doesn't want to spin, and it's a lot more grippier in the corner, so I'm not going out as far there now. But when you hit the rumble pads, your car doesn't want to kick out, it doesn't want to spin, it doesn't want to... See how much better it is when you hit it. So it all plays with shoving. You've got to try and find it how you like it. Like it's not hitting it, it's not spinning whatsoever when you hit it, because I've softened the springs up. Same on this. Like I can just drift that corner on rumble strips and it won't affect it because I've softened it up. But the downside is it feels a lot more grippier. And if you remember on the first one, and I talked about on the alignment on your cambers and your your tyre PSI and all stuff like that, how you can, and on your differential, on your balance, how you can counter react that gripping feeling by playing around with your camber and playing around with your diff and playing around with your differential. There's a loads of ways you can counter react that gripping and that sliding through that. But like I said, it takes a long time to learn it, but once you do learn it, it is good and you will get better at drifting. I hope this has helped you out on it. It's I'm not really good at trying to explain how I've got my setups and how I use them and stuff like that, but I've hoped it's given you insight on how to tune a car, how to make a car feel better, how to get a car to kick out and hold a corner, you know, just all stuff like that. So I hope it's helped you out, and I hope you get better at drifting. Then someday you will, one day you will eventually beat me, because that's where it goes. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope this helped you, and peace.